Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43 and tonight we are finally ending our Deutsche Einheit Week with none other than the Bismarck. And boy do we got a show for you guys. We are going to be bringing in 40 minutes of Bismarck. Hope you guys are ready. It's going to be an encore for the ages. We've got several games here for you guys to take a look at. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, Spartan, does this mean you didn't have any good games? No, just the opposite. I actually had several good games that I wanted to showcase to you guys. I've had a barn burner game. I had a sacrifice game, which is what you're about to witness first. Now, we are on Haven. We spawned in the south, and we are on the left side, which means we're going to push forward. Now, by me saying that it's a sacrifice play, you guys probably are pretty well aware of what's probably going to happen, right? Like, it's kind of not exactly tongue-in-cheek. We're kind of putting it out there that we're going to throw our ship away. But it's not necessarily that you throw your ship away. It's what you do with your ship before you throw it away that matters. Sometimes you see a unique advantage or a unique opportunity that you can take advantage of, and in those situations, as long as you do what you need to do, throwing your ship away isn't always the worst shot. Now, we get a broadside shot at a Massachusetts who just beached himself. You can't ask for a much better opportunity than that, and wait, pow! We get a good shot. Good shot at him. 8,800 salvo, not bad to begin with. I mean, we're 14 kilometers from the Massachusetts, and we're in a Bismarck. It's amazing we hit him at all. Now, in all reality, we know that I run the Hyde build. We have the best of both worlds. We get the heals, we get the dispersion, like we get all of the goodies with Hyde. That being said, we do got a shot at the Otago out there, and we're pushing forward. Now, notice there's a cruiser right ahead of us. That cruiser, when I do check him out, is in a very stupid position. Now, when you think about cruisers, especially the cruiser that's there is a Cleveland, and you see he's firing over the island. Well, here's the thing about being where he's at firing over the island. If he stays there, he is absolutely possible to ruin our team. And our destroyer can't get in close and deal with the battleship. But he's the only one over here that can stop our destroyer. And so I make the decision. He's already pumping his radar right now. He's got us detected. I make the decision. I am going to sacrifice myself. I announce this to my team behind me. I am going to take this Cleveland out. Nice work. That is my goal. I'm going to take this Cleveland out and anything else that presents itself after the fact. But my number one goal is to remove this Cleveland from this side of the map. We all know how dangerous a Cleveland can be if left unchecked. And so we come out here, we wait for him to give us a good angle like this, and we absolutely spank him. What was that, 16,000 damage, more than that maybe? Just disgusting. Now, I thought he was going to go for the ram here, so I'm turning in to avoid it. And then we're trying to maintain our guns. You can see I'm trying to hurry the guns along. We've got torps incoming. We're trying to dodge them. It looks like we're going to slip the torps. No problem. Are we going to be able to get the guns around? Come on, Spartan, hurry. He's making a beeline for our other battleship. He's going to try to take out the other battleship. Come on! Bismarck turrets. Got him. Yes, down he goes. Now, I know I have accomplished my goal. But now we have another target of opportunity. But we're also broadside to everybody on their team right now, which is not good. And very few ships in the game would survive this next salvo. A Roma from point blank with a flat broadside at 4 kilometers will delete most battleships. But Bismarck's turtleback armor coming through in the clutch, preventing us from dying, and we are going to punch him right back and make him pay for disrespecting us. You don't go broadside on in front of another battleship in a Roma either. And if you're going to, we're going to punch you. Now, we citadeled him and punched him real hard. We're dead, right? But we also had our secondaries running, and we were using our secondary booster. And our secondary booster was able to get us fires. And those fires are still a raging, baby. They ain't letting go. Now, because of our sacrifice, we remove 2 ships from this play. That's a good trade in any book, but when you think of the 2 ships that I got rid of, a Roma, which can be extremely tanky if bow on, and a Cleveland, which is one of the most frustrating ships to play against, you can't ask for a better play. 86,000 damage, 2 kills, and we were only alive for a very short amount of time. We go on to win that match because of it. And we end up halfway up the leaderboard, and we were alive for all of, 5 minutes? So, next we've got Greece, and this is the complete opposite end of the spectrum. This is one of those games where everything goes horribly wrong, and you have absolutely 0 teammates, so you just take what you can get. And that's what we're going to do in this one. And that's why I wanted to showcase all these matches, because there is so much cool stuff that happened to me in the Bismarck that I was just like, you know, while I didn't get a game that I would say, yes, this is the game that I want to showcase, I ended up with 4 different clips that I was like, I could show this. So I was like, all right, instead of having Bismarck and then ending the week with Gross Occur first, I figure we continue the Encore theme with the very last video being a multi-game video. And so I plan on continuing that with each one of these theme weeks that we do. And by the way, if you remember correctly, the British theme week is next. And I already got a name in mind. So hopefully you guys are ready. But, of course, with next week being the update week, we can't really do a theme week for next week, so just hold off a little bit. I promise it's coming. I will give the British their due. Don't you worry. I love all the ships. I play all of the ships. I play all the classes, all the nations. I enjoy all of them. Germans are kind of my iffy zone, but we still made it happen for you guys. That's right. And because of that, you guys have been crushing it on these videos. I'm not going to lie. The Germany week, the American week so far have been ridiculous. You guys have been viewing them. You've been sharing them. You've been doing all the things that we appreciate. All right? So I appreciate each and every one of you. And we got a broadside Bismarck. We cannot pass up that opportunity, especially at 16 kilometers. Wait for it. Pow! Not quite. He turned out. But it was an opportunity we couldn't pass up. If he'd have stayed flat broadside to us at this range, citadels are not uncommon on Bismarcks because of the plunging fire. But we're going to push over to the far right. Now, this is Greece, and you'll see that pretty quickly our team just gets completely outplayed. Literally everyone on my team just does nothing. I don't think anybody really gets much of anything. We do get a Citadel on the Massachusetts, though, reaching out and touching him, showcasing that dispersion build with Hyde with the ability to heal is amazing. I've said it before, I'll say it again. If you guys get a chance to pick up Hyde for your German battleships, pick him up. He becomes available occasionally during certain deals and stuff, so keep an eye out for him in the store. Like, you never know when Wargaming's going to let him go again. And when they do, he is 100% worth it. And we don't get quite as much damage on the Odin, unfortunately. But we've started off with 14,000 damage. And quickly, I'm realizing that we're in trouble. Like, our team is in trouble. We've got battleships following me. I've got one battleship that's YOLOing into the center behind our destroyer. Our destroyer had a good idea initially. But because of the lack of support and just their whole team being here, he's got to turn away. He has to. So he's going to mid to help the destroyer that's in mid, and there's obviously somebody in mid with them contesting, otherwise they'd be capturing that base right now. We take the shot at the Azuma, hoping that we get a good hit. We get one overpin. And so I don't normally sit back and snipe with Bismarck, but I just didn't feel like it was a good idea to rush straight in. And that battleship that's with us over here on the left, or the battleship that's on our left that's over here with us, is actually showcasing why I didn't want to do that. He's just YOLOing straight ahead. Turns out he's in a German battleship with torpedoes. And so he's going to get close enough, but remember what I said when I was in the Turpits video. Like, when you have those torpedoes, everybody knows you have them. It ain't a secret, okay? So if you make yourself that notice, look how much distance he has to go in order to get to somewhere where he can torp something. And the entire time he's closing the distance, everyone is shooting him. And so if he had not just drove straight across the middle like that, if he had come behind the island and joined me with my push, which you're about to see, if he had done that, he probably would have been a little bit more successful in this match. And it could have It could have altered this match completely. However, it's a domination, and considering we have one battleship trying to hold off a destroyer in the far cap, our 2 destroyers have left the center cap. I don't know why. There's one destroyer there, and they all ran away from center cap. So that's not preferable. And so you just get into the feeling that this match is already hopeless. And that's kind of where I was with it. So Tirpitz is still gaining his way across. He is doing pretty well at getting close, but the problem is going to be, like, now he's broadside to the Massachusetts, he's broadside to the other battleship. Luckily, that battleship went behind the island, which was the Odin. We've got the Bismarcks out here on our right, and the Azuma. And so, while he is going to be able to close the distance, at the end of the day, you're not much better than a destroyer that just YOLOs in and dies. And I don't believe he takes anything with him. He just goes in and dies. Now, he did get a hit on the Massachusetts, I believe. So, you know, he did some damage. And that's the difference between a sacrifice play that makes sense and just throwing your ship away. Like, with my last battle, I was able to see that if I could get rid of this radar cruiser early, then I could potentially spring our destroyer to just feast on all of those battleships. Now, that ain't exactly what happened. That destroyer almost cost us that match, because even though I killed the cruiser and got rid of the battleship, the destroyer doubled all the way back into the inside of the map, which completely negated his odds of getting rid of those battleships. Luckily, the battleships that were behind me stood on their heads and absolutely worked over those guys just by sheer willpower. The right side of the map was able to push, and our guys were able to hold long enough for the crossfires to begin. And so, this match is kind of showcasing the complete opposite of that, where a guy literally just sails in a straight line, gets straight up in there, and dies, doing minimal damage, not killing any ships, and now we are down both of our destroyers, well, 2 of our 3 destroyers, we're down 2 battleships, and they have all 3 of the 4 caps. This is not preferable, okay? This is unwinnable at this point. You cannot win because no one of us can get to any of those caps to cap them. They're contesting the cap that's directly ahead of us. They've got 2 caps off to the edge. The only way that we would have a chance is if their destroyers completely potatoed and our guy was able to capture those bases. And our guy has nothing to do with those bases. He's actually defending us from them at the moment. So we're going to move up. We're going to try to get rid of this Massachusetts. We aim for the superstructure because, like the Germans, the Americans had the same really healthy superstructures. You can get a lot of damage off of them. And so we're trying to get them. We're trying to set a fire with our secondaries. Our secondaries are firing away. These guys are fumbling. Massachusetts manages to take down the enemy Massachusetts. We've got a broadside Azuma here. Unfortunately, the rocks just no, that was the Bismarck that we were looking at, right? Or Massachusetts. We do get the shot at the Azuma, and we punch him in the mouth and finish him off, which is huge. Getting rid of that fire starter is absolutely massive. So now we're moving forward. We've got the Massachusetts in retreat mode, and we've got a Bismarck out in the long ways. Now, we also have a Bismarck coming up from mid, who has finished up with his guy over there at A, and is moving back across the map. He's going to have crossfires on our team. And our destroyer is kiting away, because he's being chased by 2 destroyers. But him being chased by those destroyers is actually keeping those destroyers off of us at the moment. So now we're pushing forward, and we're going to notice the Bismarck behind us a little bit later. But we're going to try to get what we can off these guys. We're on fire 3 times because we're kind of in the middle of a Massachusetts and 2 Bismarck secondaries, which is not where you want to be. But you can see we're about to get our damage comm back. We're going to extinguish that fire. We still got 4 more heals. Like, we're not hurting that badly. The fires we can deal with. We got heals for that. It's just giving up giant chunks of damage that we've got to be careful with. Now, we're in a good place at the moment. You can see the Bismarck that's directly out from us is actually firing HE at us, trying to set more fires. The Bismarck that's inside over there at B just showed his hand. He's like, okay, I'm here. But he didn't do much damage to me. So now I'm going to be trying to play against him. I've got to try to limit who can shoot me. And at this point, we haven't seen the destroyers for a while, and somebody is in D capping. Okay, so Because of that, I know that torpedoes are likely on the way for me because I'm the only one that's in a position where they can attack him. So I've got to get myself moving, and you're going to see as soon as I get a chance, I'm going to turn in to attack directly at this Bismarck that's coming from the center. He's got the most devastating broadside on us, and he's the one not spamming HE. So we've got to watch him. We get 2 fires on the Bismarck, and we get fires setting on the other Bismarck with our secondaries. You can see our secondaries are just unloading right now. And we are going to go ahead and pop the secondary booster here in a second as well to try to take even more advantage of that secondaries because we know that we're going down. Like, this is not out of the question. We've already done 122,000 damage in this match. We are absolutely punching things. Kid shows his hand for some reason. I'm like, okay, well, maybe I can get lucky, take this guy out. He's slowing down, trying to smoke up. We get the shot off. He completely potatoes all of his torpedoes. We get only a single overpin. Thanks, Bismarck. Could have used that one. But now he's going to be able to burn us from his smoke screen. We don't get our hydro back anytime soon. We've got another battleship to my right, the Massachusetts, coming out. We're going to be able to get a shot into this Bismarck side, get a beautiful, nice penetration. Now, this shot I should have fired into the superstructure. Notice he is turning out. We don't have very good penetration angles on the German battleships, and so we do get one, or I guess it says 3 penetrations, but we only got 3,000 damage, which was less than a single really good penetration. But we end up losing that match, no surprise. 1,400 base XP in the loss, though, just showcasing that sometimes it's not about the damage you deal. That game was pretty much lost from the get-go. Our team just did nothing. And then on top of that, the Tirpitz throwing his ship away. Like, it was just a lot of bad that happened in that. But now we're on estuary. And this is going to showcase the Bismarck in a I refuse to die that the Bismarck is really good at. Okay, we've got this set up with 5 heals, and as long as you angle Bismarck and people don't kill your superstructure over and over again, which once it gets saturated, the Bismarck is very, very tanky, and that's going to show later in this match. But the Bismarck overall, as much grief as I've given it, nowadays it is a good ship. It is actually a decent ship. I don't mind playing the Bismarck now in its current form. The guns are reliable enough. The secondaries are nasty. They set a lot of fires. And like it's a much better ship. And because it has the sonar and it turns relatively well and it's got decent overall speed, like there's really not much of a downside other than, you know, it's still a German battleship. It's still going to troll you with really bad dispersion occasionally. Like we saw with the kid in the last one. Hoping to finish him off, we get a single overpin, that sort of thing. But the guns are much better than they used to be. Now, the initial turn that I make on estuary spawning this side is solely due to the fact that I want to know what's out here. We don't have a forward scout. We have a cruiser and 2 battleships over here, so we can't really scout ahead. Now, we are scouted, which is unfortunate. Both of our destroyers, I'm assuming they're in a destroyer division. I don't remember looking, but we got a broadside Iowa. He is coming in slightly angled, but he's turning out, so I'm hoping that we catch him, and that looks good. And we don't get anything. We ricochet 2 shells off of him. The angle just not quite there for us. However, we do have the Wichita over there, I believe, and he's going to be a juicy target to shoot at. But still, broadside Iowa, I'm going to take the shot. I'm sorry. It's just the way it goes. Now, as we take the shot, it looks like he was starting to turn in again, but he can't because of the island, and that looks nasty. And we get a very good hit on him, giving us 14,000 damage there. Now, obviously, we get the destroyer spotted off to our right. We go ahead and mark him. Our battleship's shooting at him, our cruiser's shooting at him, and I'm heading directly towards him. Now, the reason I'm heading directly towards him is because we cannot leave this man alive. It's an Akatsuki or Akatsuki Japanese destroyer with lots of torpedoes, quick reload time, they hit hard, and they're very sneaky. Anytime that you know where they at, you have to try to get rid of them. That's in Atlanta, not a Wichita. I'm sorry. So the Atlanta makes a stupid decision coming out in front of everybody. He has no reason to. He's literally can shoot over the island. We're detected by his battleships. You can see I'm getting ready to fire. I can see the shots from everybody else hitting the Iowa. Gonna try to take the shot. And I mean, it's a 900-foot long ship, and we do get a single shatter on him. Not getting any damage, unfortunately. However, Atlanta once again overrunning the island, making stupid decisions. Like, there's no need for him to do that. He's just giving us the opportunity to punch him, and you can only play with RNG for so long, and down he goes. Vladdy managing to finish him off. Now, this Vladdy and I have the same idea, except he is going to go a little bit more crazy than I am. Now, you can see I am running my sonar, and the guy just launched his torpedoes again, so I am going to go straight for that smoke screen and try to close that distance. We've got to get within, 4.5 kilometers now to sonar him, and sure enough, we get inside 4.5 kilometers. He is sonared, and he has nowhere to go. He's already launched his torpedoes, so now it's just waiting for him to die, and down he goes to our Atlanta. So, huge kill right there. They lost both of their destroyers and a cruiser early in the game, and now it is just absolutely open season on these guys. This is the exact same scenario that just happened to us in the other match, where we were on the receiving end last time, where their team got 3 caps and just pushed our team into a corner. And so this is the same scenario for them. Now, they are pretty spread out, meaning that it's not as easy to crossfire them and focus fire them as you would like it to be, because they are so spread out. Had they been closer together, it's just not even a competition. It's just who gets the most damage at that point. But they are spread out pretty well. I see the Helena out there. We're going to try to hit him. He is going to try to kite away here, but so I like, okay, we'll go for the Iowa then. Iowa's low health. Let's focus him, get him off the board. Aiming for that superstructure hit. We look over. We've got a Gneisenau in the center. And look at the shot. I mean, that looks gorgeous. And it's nothing. Just nothing. Those penetration angles are really, really rough. Especially against a really tanky battleship like the Iowa. But their Gneisenau just took an absolute pounding. He's launching torps off both sides of his ship. He's going for the home run, much like our Tirpitz did in the last match. And so we try to get a good shot on him, and we actually don't hit him. He turns in and manages for our shells to just miss. Now, we were turning behind the Vladdy here because of the Gneisenau. We were trying to help our team as best we could. Unfortunately, we're going to lose our Atlanta, it looks like. We did lose our battleship that the guy was fighting directly, and there's a second battleship right behind him now, and the Atlanta's directly off his bow. Now, we can't worry about that at the moment. We don't have a shot. He gets rid of, or the Helena actually gets rid of our Atlanta, and that's going to allow just the 2 battleships to go. And for some reason, the Gneisenau, instead of turning out and coming towards us, goes full broadside in front of that battleship. And so that's going to be the death of that Gneisenau. There's no way he's going to get away with that. He's going to beach himself. He'll be broadside on, and his torps aren't loaded yet. It's going to be a bad day for the Gneisenau. And so here, we're getting into trouble initially because everybody is focusing us from their battleships. But our Vladdy goes nose in towards them instead of following me around this island. Had he followed me around the island, we would have had a little bit more protection. But because he noses in, he is going to be able to spot them, which is good, but our destroyers would have spotted him anyway. And if he had come over here, I would have stayed behind this island and tried to do things from this island. But because he goes nose in, I'm like, okay, well, we've done this together for this point, so I'm going to go with him. So I'm just going to go around the island, even though I know I should stay behind the island here, because I'd be able to shoot these guys uncontested. There would be nobody that could see me. It would be glorious. Now, we take some shots at the Helena, and we actually get some hits here, but only a single penetration out of it, which is not preferable. But you can see there are a lot of battleships still here. We have a Bismarck, we have an Iowa, we have an Odin, or not an Iowa, we have a an Alabama, an Odin, a Bismarck, the Helena. Like, there's a lot of nasty ships still out here. Helena is trying to get away from us. He turns back towards his base and then realizes that's not a good play because there's a battleship there waiting for him too. We've got these guys black holed or corralled, whatever you want to call it. Bismarck broadside to us. We get a nasty shot on him. 6 plus 7, that's going to be at least 13,000 damage there, but we're going to take a nasty hit right back from the Alabama. So now you can see I'm turning away. I can keep my guns to bear, but also maintain some armor towards these guys. Our Vladdy is just rushing straight in at this point. And while the Vladdy is very, very tanky from the front, you can't stand up to everybody forever, okay? Now, we managed to get a fire on the Bismarck that time. Our Vladdy goes down. Big surprise. Like, you knew it was going to happen. You can only be focused by 3 battleships for so long before you go down. It's going to happen. And now it's my turn. We've got an Alabama pushing towards us. He's bow tanking, so we're going to go for that superstructure. His superstructure's already black. Notice that. His superstructure's already black, meaning we're not going to get as much damage out of hitting his superstructure. Only getting 3,000, unfortunately. However, we are in range for our secondaries to start working over the Bismarck. So while we sit here, we're going to slow down, let these guys catch up to us. That's going to allow them to miss some shots here early. They do set a fire on us. Alabama's going to get a little too cocky, go broadside to us, thinking that he can get away with it, and you really can't. You can't sleep on the Bismarck anymore. Now, he does actually get away with it there, only a single overpin at that. Like, he just got lucky as crap. But you can't sleep on the Bismarck and go broadside like that, as the Roma found out in the first match. You just can't do it anymore. Now, Alabama out here, he's angled relatively well. We can't really guarantee any penetrations on the belt, so we shoot for that superstructure, trying to get some good penetrations, and we do get a good penetration out of it, getting another 3,800 damage. But you can see, this war of attrition, I'm getting 3,800 damage. They're able to do that to me each time as well, and with 2 of them shooting at me, it's not preferable. Now, we do get another fire on one of the 2 ships. I don't know if it was the Alabama or the Bismarck, but the Alabama is just ripping me apart at this point. He's getting a lot of damage into that superstructure. Now, our superstructure appears to be saturated now, finally. So that's going to help negate some of the damage in the future. And the Bismarck is closing the gap. Now, I figured this Bismarck was going for the ram, and he's got a decided health advantage on us. Well, he did initially. But our fires had started working him over as well, and so he doesn't have as much health as he used to have. Now, the Alabama, for some reason, shoots HE at me, which probably saves my life in this next fight, because while this guy has so much more health than me, I'm going to be able to survive and just refuse to die, because I'm getting ready to get a heal. That's going to save my life initially. That heal just literally just saved my life by popping that heal. And then as we kite away, we shoot his superstructure, getting a lot of good damage off of him, getting another fire with these secondaries. And as we turn in, Alabama's still going ham over there, taking out our team. That guy was fighting ridiculous. Chaos Router, I think is his name. What a fight, man. He had a heck of a game on a team that just did nothing. But this Bismarck, on the other hand, I go for the penetration on the bow. I didn't realize it was going to be my rear guns firing. So the angle was completely wrong to try to get bow penetrations. So we need to get some damage. He's burning. We need to win this fight. Guns are about to be loaded on the front. We go ahead and just go for the superstructure. It's too steep of an angle. He gets a nasty penetration on us, but we don't die. We refuse to give up, and we're going to get the rear guns loaded in time to finish him off using the superstructure. Down he goes, and we survive with 1,730 hit points. Just under 100,000 damage, but it was a hard-fought 100,000 damage. Like, that was a ridiculous game. And Dreadnought, Fireproof, we don't get on the top of the leaderboard, but 1,800 base XP is nothing to sneeze at either, especially when you think of just how much craziness went on in that match. Now, the fault line. This is our final match. This is our final battle in the Bismarck for this week. This Deutschen Einheit. Deutsche, not Deutschen. I don't know why I said Deutschen, but Deutsche Einheit. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this week as much as I have. I really do enjoy these theme weeks, and I think it's something that we're going to continue with. Definitely going to go with the British the next theme week, and then we'll probably do Japan after that, then the French, Italy, and Russia, or not necessarily in that order. So let me know what you guys think. I know that British and then Japan, and then it'll be between France, Italy, and Russia after that. And then Poland. We do have the Bliskovica that we could, or is it the Bliskovica? I don't remember. Anyway, we're gonna go get ourselves introduced in this match. Now, Fault Line is a map that everybody should know by now. It's a map of overmatches, okay? And by that, I mean most of the maps on World of Warships Legends are stacked to rotate a certain direction, okay? This map is forcing us to push up this side and their team to push up the other side. So you end up with a rotation. And it basically becomes a race to the base at that point. We have the numbers advantage on this side of the map. They have the numbers advantage on that side of the map. So we need to cover our ground as quickly as possible. And we actually have the advantage in this. Because we know that there are only 3 ships against us, we are going to push straight into them. Now, the guys that are over there in the middle on their side can make a great decision and come back to help their team. Okay? And actually, that's what I would advise anybody who ends up on that side of the map and spawns mid. Somebody should come back and support this side of the map, because you can get A, really good crossfires, and B, you slow down the advance of the enemy down this side. And even if it's just a little while that you slow them down, you can slow them down enough for your team to push through your side of the map. And that's the part that always ends up wrong. Most of the time what happens is this side wins very quickly and pushes straight through to the base, and the enemy has to come back to try to race to the base and defend. Now, I was hoping that this torpedo would hit that island. It just didn't. It hit perfect. So nothing we can do there. We're going to go ahead and... I was expecting other torpedoes, which is why I didn't immediately damage con. But because they don't come, I'm going to go ahead, damage con this flood, and just be done with that early. I said damage con the flood, Spartan. There you go. Good job. But I've been trying to get some good shots through this mouth of the island, which it is possible. You just got to aim like I'm doing right here. But unfortunately, the firing arc of the Bismarck is going straight up into the island. I've gotten a lot of good shots. I was actually using the Baltimore recently and shooting through that not that long ago. So I know it's possible. I was doing it pretty well. It was actually quite comical. It's a little annoying to have to aim like that. I wish there was a better gun view where it didn't like freak out next to an island. But you know it's going to be a thing. Now, that torpedo sneaks past the island. We're going to go ahead and make our course for behind it. And then we're going to come out from behind and try to finish off this Akatsuki over here. Our sonar, unfortunately, is down. But there's really not a whole lot here. There's 2 destroyers here and a Scharnhorst that is holding us back. Now, they do have a battleship heading in our direction, which is not necessarily a good thing. Because, like I said, those crossfires are nasty as he gets ready to smack us, but he failed his shot miserably. We're going to try to push up. We're not going to push straight around the corner. We see the smoke screen to my left. I see the smoke screen ahead of me. We don't want to do anything stupid. We just want to continue to pressure these guys. Force them to make mistakes. Every mistake that you make them make gives your team the advantage. Like when you force them to shoot torpedoes at you and they miss because you slow down. Scharnhorst out here going full broadside, like this is not what you want. Scharnhorst is never going to be a good contender to be broadside. It's got great armor, don't get me wrong, but broadside on, it's just another battleship, okay? Now, we were trying to set a fire here. We actually loaded HE in lieu of the destroyers, but we didn't actually get a shot at the destroyers, so we took the shot at the Scharnhorst instead. These guys launched the torps at us, and our battleship's actually running right into them, but somehow managed to get through it relatively unscathed, which was nice. You know, you gotta like it. So we take a shot over here. We've got a fire on the Scharnhorst. We fire the rear guns into the island like a doofus, and we are going to be charging forward and trying to deal with this Akatsuki. Now, obviously, our guy's going to take all of these torpedoes. He turns the wrong way. Instead of turning towards the threat, he turns away from it. He takes 2 of the 3 torpedoes, but he's going to go down. We managed to finish off, well, we don't, but they managed to finish off the Akatsuki. Scharnhorst isn't far behind. He's almost dead as well. You can only stay broadside for so long. Even if we're shooting HE because of the destroyers, you're going to be going down pretty quick. Now, obviously, we load AP, getting ready for the Massachusetts fight. We've got a destroyer firing torpedoes at us again, and we're going to be turning away from these. No problem avoiding these at all. And so we're trying to go straight for their base, because you see what I'm saying about the race to the base. They have won their side, we have won our side. It's time to see who gets to the base first so that the other ones have to come back. And I'm not going to lie. The destroyer that's on our team that's left is going to be absolutely clutch in this game. Just throwing that out there. The destroyer that's left is going to be absolutely clutch. We are going to be getting into the base. Massachusetts is doubling back, but of course he's got to turn because he's at the edge of the map. And so we're going to get a really good broadside look. Not the best look, but it is still a broadside battleship, pretty much. So you're going to be able to get some pretty good chunks out of him. As we hit him, we get not the best shot in the world. The destroyer gets lit up behind us, wandering a little too close to our entire team, really. So he gets lit up. My secondaries are working him over, and my cruiser behind him, or behind me, is working him over. Our battleships are all, everybody's shooting this man. And so he's not long for this world. Ignis gets another destroyer kill. And so we're pushing back towards the base once again. We've got 2 cruisers with us and the battleship behind us. And we are going to have to showcase the tankiness and the resilience of the Bismarck. Now, obviously, these torpedoes aren't as big a threat to me, but I've got to be careful. Our cruiser's got to turn, so he's got to get out of there. The Massachusetts looking at the other battleship for some reason instead of me, giving me a flat broadside to shoot at, and we just absolutely pummel him. Getting over 19,000 damage that salvo. Just punched him right in the mouth. And that is enough to make you sick to your stomach if it happens to you. But we actually potato really badly and take a torp there. Didn't need to take that torp. Thought that it was going to sail past me, but it was coming at it just enough of an angle that I should have turned away. Guaranteed that I didn't get hit by the torp, but that was just stupid for me. Just a dumb play. And we get another juicy shot at the Massachusetts out there. Secondary's going off. I'm paying attention to the ship on my right because I know I don't want to give my broadside to 2 ships. So we start bow tanking the Massachusetts, knowing that he's the bigger threat. The King George that's coming back is going to be a threat, but not as big as the Massachusetts. So we're going to try to get rid of this Massachusetts on the next salvo if we can. We're going to aim a little bit higher, going for the superstructure, and he's going to turn in to get all of his guns involved. And because he turns in, he is going to catch a nasty salvo, and that's pretty much going to do him over as our secondaries are still targeting him. Now, we lose one of our guns temporarily. I thought he was going to take a lot more damage than that, but he just didn't. He took a lot of damage, but not enough. Our secondary is still going off. You can see he's not a full build, secondary build, but we are going to finish him for sure in our next salvo. And while they're on the way, we hit that superstructure beautifully. He goes down. Now we're about to get our turret back. I didn't want to. I didn't have a damage con, but I wouldn't have used it there anyway. But now we've got a King George. King George is usually a fire starter, but has very good AP if it gets a flat, juicy broadside to shoot at. And so we've got to be careful of that, and we get turned in. His shot was horrendous. I'm assuming he was shooting at the cruiser or aimed at the cruiser and shot at me thinking he was going to hit me. I've had it happen when you have multiple ships in a small area. But you can see they've got 2 people in our base. We've got 2 people in their base, and they're about to have somebody contest it. So our destroyer is going to have to win that side for us. We're getting some shots into the bow armor of the King George here. Trying our best. We're getting the secondaries to just absolutely ripping him apart. But his secondaries are starting to do things too. He's inside enough range that his secondaries are shooting us. But his secondaries aren't going to get a whole lot out of us. And our secondaries are much more effective. Now, he's trying to go bow in, so we're going to go ahead and shoot that superstructure. It's not going to be as helpful as it is against American and German ships, but it's still something better than just bouncing off the bow. And that's going to pretty much be what we needed to get rid of this guy. We've avoided being too damaged here. He was actually shooting at the rest of my team as well, trying to do damage to them while he bow tanked me. He hits us with the HE. It's not that big a deal. He goes down to the Algerie's fire, and we're going to go ahead and use our damage con to put out our fire. Now, this is where I say that the destroyer needs to come in clutch. We have 3 people in the cat. Now, I'm not going to lie. The guy that's on my right in the cruiser sails out of the base like a numpty. We won! Hey, he doesn't have to get out of the base. This is a win. But he does get out of the base, And that makes this game way, way too close to call. The destroyer over there can't reveal himself to 2 cruisers. It's a death sentence. So what he's doing is he's waiting for the opportunity. He's lighting the team up for our guys to potentially shoot. And he's waiting for an opportunity where once he resets them, all he needs to do is reset them once. If he resets them one time, then we win. But they're getting very close to having it capped, and so he has no choice but to try to reset them. And sure enough, right as we're about to lose, he gets reset. And then somebody hits the other ship and resets the other ship. So they lose all of their progress, and that guarantees us the win because we have 2 people in the cap. We're about to get a 3rd in the cap, and we have more capture points than they do. So that play right there by that destroyer, not immediately shooting them, but waiting until he knew that we were going to have the lead to reset him, and then he goes down, that guy won us this match. So well done to the destroyer over there. Moss, you came in handy. Mr. Harry Goats, much appreciated. You did a heck of a job. And that is the reason we won this match. Now, we finished the game with 106,000 damage, 200 secondary hits. You know, we did a lot of work, and we took a lot of potential damage as well as just pushing through this side. The resilience, and we still finished with 33,000 and a heal. Like, we were doing okay. Their team didn't really get a chance to focus anyone down on this side, and that's actually what ended up hurting them the most, is that they kind of spread the damage out between everybody instead of shooting one person to death. But you live and learn. We end up with, 106,000 damage. Second on the leaderboard. Again, Harry Goats coming in top, 2,300 base XP. That defense at the end was absolutely brilliant. So if you like what I'm doing, punch the like button, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you in the next video.